everybody. Happy Sunday. And to those of you who are moms or have moms, which all of us do, happy Mother's Day, especially those of us who are moms to our fur babies. Hey, Sober Pug. Remy, glad you could be here. Lynn. So today we are going to have an update on the disappearance of Anna Knezovic, who is from Florida, and she was vacationing in Spain, Madrid specifically, when she disappeared. And she was last heard from in early February. And we're going to go through some of the details of the case so that we can have a refresher. I actually only remembered a few things myself, so I actually went back and watched part of the live that I did back in February. And I do have some of those news clips that News Nation and Chris Cuomo actually started really talking about this story, and they haven't given up. Just like Chris said in one of the videos we're going to watch, he said, he told the family, like, we're going to keep on it. We're going to, follow it. And they have held true to their word. Hey, Stoned But Not Alone. How's it going? I hope you're well. Hey, Ash. Oh, Remy, cleaning up from dinner. I didn't know I had to cook on Mother's Day too. Oh, no. Oh, boy. I did a lot of cleaning today myself. Got all of the winter clothes packed away and dragged up to the attic. Cleaned up my bedroom. Got some things organized. It was very productive. Very productive. So we are going to get started. One more thing. I was able to get a copy of the criminal complaint. So we are going to go through that as well. I did read it ahead of time, but I'm just going to say it's very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So again, this is going back to February of this year. And this clip from News Nation is from February 12th. And this was the first time I had also heard about Anna Maria's case.
All right, so this is one we're learning about in real time, okay? This woman's name is Anna Knezovic, Serbian name, okay? She's from Colombia, American citizen. South Florida, living the good life with her husband, involved in real estate, living the dream, okay? Times start to get tough. The relationship goes sideways. She becomes a little estranged from friends and family. Tough divorce. Starts taking trips to Madrid, Spain. Remember, she's Colombian. She's very familiar with Spanish, obviously, in the culture. And she's going there. You see her living her life, trying to get her head right, okay? She makes plans to meet up with a friend in Barcelona. Never shows up, okay? That was over a week ago. The friends get suspicious. Start saying.
And I believe, let me just check, just so that I don't misspeak. I believe she was last heard from on February 2nd. Let me just double check. Yes. On or about February 2nd. So that was the last time she was seen alive, was February 2nd.
Sending texts. Start trying to find her. All of a sudden, they don't get her. They get text messages that don't seem like they're from Anna. Why? Two reasons. One, the way she was speaking, but also the way she was speaking Spanish. I get this problem a lot as a guy who's a hack speaking Spanish. Very often I say things in a way that people who speak Spanish wouldn't say it, even if it's accurate. So they start to get nervous. And they say she'd never take off without notifying them.
Wow, Remy, really? I had spoken to an old family friend who lives in Barcelona, and the coverage there wasn't extensive at all. Hey, Road Rash, thanks for being here.
So they start getting to the authorities, file a police report. They find out that somebody went to the apartment complex and spray painted the camera for the surveillance camera right before she disappeared. So I hear about this. I call one of the strongest guys in the business, News Nation senior correspondent Brian Enton, who's in South Florida, to get on the story. And he joins us right now. First of all, thank you for jumping on this over a weekend. And this story gets more and more troubling the deeper you get into it.
It does, Chris. It's really turned into an international mystery. It's really, really scary for Anna's family. She basically left South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, on last end of last year. It was February 5th, Chris, that she went missing in Madrid.
Okay, so let me just double check. So on December 26th, 2023, so just after Christmas, is when Ana traveled to Madrid. And again, she was last heard from on February 2nd, 2024.
Madrid. You mentioned it. She was going through this divorce. She goes to see friends in Madrid. She's going to meet a friend to go to Barcelona on February 5th. She doesn't show up. Totally unlike her. She would never not be in touch with her family, who she's very close to. She would never not be in touch with her friends. So that doesn't make any sense. They send someone over to the apartment to see what's going on. And that's when they find out, according to the family, that a man in a helmet had come the night before she went missing. So they couldn't see the face, just the eyes, because there was a helmet, and used black spray paint. And you see the pictures here.
Right. And let me just back up just a little bit. And this, again, this news clip is from February. So that might be why, Road Rash, you thought he wasn't on TV anymore. This is going back to February. And so then you can see where they spray painted the camera where you buzz in. And then
and
this
use
person
black spray
also
paint. And you see the pictures here to
spray painted the cameras, the surveillance cameras as well.
spray paint over the surveillance cameras so they can't get video from the apartment. I was at Anna's house with her brother this morning in Fort Lauderdale. Take a look.
The fact that the building has the cameras spray painted, it just makes us think as a family that is and friends that is a foul play. It's not normal.
This is Anna's house where she lived with her husband.
And I agree with her brother that it does appear to be foul play. Like, it's not normal. People don't normally spray paint cameras so that they're not seen.
And this is her convertible in the driveway. The neighbors say it hasn't moved in quite some time. You can see there's a lot of mail in the mailbox. There's a package right there by the front door. And one other thing we noticed, there are plenty of security cameras out here. As a brother, do you have a bad feeling about this?
Of course, I do. I do.
So there were a number of cameras out there. That was interesting. There was a Ring camera. The neighbors say that the husband, his name's David Knezevich, that he pays attention to those cameras, is always watching. I went up to the Ring, tried to get anyone's attention. No one was responding. He's apparently possibly in Serbia now, where he's originally from. Also called him. It went straight to voicemail. Didn't respond to texts. Her phone also goes straight to voicemail. And there are no responses to text, Chris.
So as far as we know, the husband, they're going through a divorce, but whatever, they're still married, has not gone to Spain to assist in the search.
As far as we know, he is in Serbia.
Yes. And according to his lawyer, so again, this was back in February, his lawyer said the reason he didn't go to Spain to help aid in the search for his wife was because he didn't speak the language and wasn't familiar with the area. And I remember vaguely saying, who cares if you don't speak the language? I would be there looking for my loved one. You can always have someone who does speak the language translate for you.
It's what family members say. He is not responding to anyone in Anna's family, which has them really concerned. FBI now involved, State Department involved. They just want to get to the bottom of it.
Now, they're involved in quotes, right? Because one of the concerns here is there's not exactly a 5-alarm fire going on here to find Anna, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we're doing the story, obviously to put pressure on the authorities. The family's frustrated. The State Department is telling them that the Madrid Police Department is not staffed up properly, so they don't have the resources. And again, this is an American citizen. I mean, this woman lived in Florida, lived in Fort Lauderdale, and has now gone missing in Spain. So the family's just desperate for any help they can get.
And that's true, y'all. Your phone can translate, and most European countries where tourists go speak English. That is true too. So, and again, it doesn't require you to speak the language to look for your wife or a missing loved one. Oh, Remy, that is interesting. Serbia has extradition with the US. Interestingly, though, her husband was arrested at Miami International Airport. So her husband has been arrested in her disappearance. He's being charged with kidnapping. And he was arrested not in Serbia, where I thought he probably would be, but he was arrested at Miami International Airport. Road Rush, that's a good point. If he was getting divorced, why would he bother going to Spain? I don't know. I would think even though you're in a contentious divorce that, I mean, I guess some people wouldn't care, but I would hope that the majority would. Hey, Mr. Nobody. How are you?
Brian, thank you. To be continued. We'll work it together. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next video is also from News Nation, and this was from February 14th. So February 14th of this year, and actually almost 3 months to the day. So today's the 12th. Oh, and actually it's 3 months to the day that I actually covered this story initially. So this one actually took place on Ash Wednesday, this news clip. So Chris Cuomo does have ashes on his forehead. So don't be alarmed when you see, the news clip.
Anna Knezovic from Florida has now been gone for 12 days after going to Madrid. Vanishes the same night a guy shows up, hiding his face with a helmet and spray painting over security cameras. And it's still a missing person 12 days in. So she went there. Why? Because she was going through a divorce and she was trying to get her life and her head together. All right. She was planning to travel to Barcelona with a friend a couple of days after she disappeared. Never showed up at the train station. No word. Anna's brother Felipe says Spanish police went to Anna's apartment yesterday, found no signs of robbery. Text messages sent supposedly from Anna's phone the day after she vanished, saying she met some guy after therapy and he's great. They're going to his house, spotty cell service.
And I will read these because Chris kind of goes through them quickly. So Anna says, I met someone wonderful. He has a summer house about 2 hours from Madrid. We are going there now, and I will spend a few days there. Signal is spotty. I'll call you when I get back. Yesterday after therapy, I needed a walk and he approached me on the street. Amazing connection, like I never had before. So again, this is February 2nd, the same day that Anna was last seen alive.
People who know her say she didn't talk like that, she wouldn't have acted like that. And that the Spanish seemed like it was put through a translation app, that the idiomatic nature of it, that the vernacular wasn't right for a native speaker, which she was. We have now obtained, never heard before by the public, voice messages from Anna to a friend that, one, I think helps clear up any question about what was going on that day in terms of whether she had just met somebody or whether she was going to go do something, and just who she was as a person. So I have two for you. First one is a voice message that she sent to a friend January 22nd. That's a week and a half before her disappearance, just so you can get a feel for what she was like. Here.
Hey, good morning. I woke up, went to the gym, got the apartment ready. I'm gonna buy some like cleaning stuff now. And I fixed my hair, my nails, and now I'm just heading back. How are you? I miss you too. Bye.
Meticulous, somebody who likes to tell people what's happening, right? Very detailed. So would she just take off and not say anything to anybody? Leads us to the next voice message. Now, this is on the same day that she's believed to have disappeared. February 2nd. She was last seen 10 o'clock at night. The guy with the spray painting was about 9:30 at night. Noon that day, she leaves a message for her friend. This is what she says.
I saw an apartment that I loved yesterday. So hopefully it will be mine. And now I'm on my way to see another one, and everything's doing great. I'm feeling actually really good. I'm going on Monday to Barcelona with a friend of mine. It's just a day trip. We're going and then we're coming back. She's very excited about it.
She had a plan. She doesn't sound.
And I agree. Like, she had a plan. She was excited. She had seen an apartment she loved. She was going to another apartment to check that one out. She talked about going to Barcelona with her friend, just doing a day trip and then coming back. So, thinking back to those text messages that she allegedly sent about meeting some random guy who she was going to go to his summer house 2 hours from Madrid is a little suspicious, a little sketchy.
Sound like somebody was looking to take off to go to some ashram, and she didn't mention meeting anybody. Joining me now is Brandy Smith, longtime friend of Anna's and of her estranged husband. They're going through divorce. That's why I say that. David, thank you very much, and I'm sorry that you're in this situation.
Thank you.
Brandy, what do you want people to know about your friend?
Anna was a very calm person. She was a very intelligent person, very calculated person. I definitely don't think that those text messages were from her at all. That's Anna and I when we were in Colombia visiting her family about 12 years ago. She's a great tour guide. She's very smart. She's very intelligent. She doesn't take risks. We were in Medellin. We were on the cable cars. She's not a reckless kind of person. So I don't believe that those text messages were from her either.
Now, you have experience with investigations. Does this feel like a missing person situation to you?
It absolutely feels like a missing persons investigation because she would have messaged her friends, her girlfriends. This is what women do. Women message each other and tell them what's going on. So 1, 2 of her girlfriends, she would have absolutely messaged them, whether things were going good, whether things were going bad. It's very unusual for her to not get in touch with any of her girlfriends at all.
Now, David, her husband. Does it strike you as unusual that even though they're going through a hard time, allegedly, that he did not go to Spain to look for his missing wife?
I can't really speak to that because I don't know what exactly was happening in their marriage, but I would certainly think that They met, I was with them the night that they met in 2010. I would certainly think after all of this history that they spent together that he would.
So they had married in 2010, and so they had been married for about 13 to 14 years.
Go looking for her.
You were at their wedding. They actually met at that event. But you are not in. Have you been in contact with him lately? Have you reached out?
I have not. No.
We have an open invitation, obviously, to him to participate in the reporting here about what's going on. If you hear from him, please let him know as well.
Oh, and I didn't mean to cut that off as quick as I did. So the next clip is from February 17th, and this is from NBC News, and they speak to one of Ana Maria's other friends, so another friend of hers, just to kind of give, some more information about Ana.
Ana is the sweetest person ever.
Sana Ramo is describing her best friend, 40-year-old Ana Nesovic.
She is just so caring. She is so sweet. She is just so soft. She is funny. She is smart. She's adventurous.
But now she's missing.
Someone has done something to her, and I'm trying to understand who it could be and why.
Ana has been missing since Friday, February 2nd, and was last seen by neighbors around 10 p.m. She's been living in an apartment in Madrid since December. Ramo says it was a fresh start for her friend, who she says is going through a stressful time in her personal life.
She's separating, divorcing her husband. And she was this summer, going through that.
Ramo says when she tried texting Ana the day she disappeared, she didn't get a response back. But instead, she got this strange text message from Ana's phone the next day, stating that she met someone and was going to his summer home 2 hours from Madrid, and signal would be spotty.
I tried to respond saying that I got worried about her, like it didn't sound safe, like what is she talking about, like this makes no sense. And my messages didn't go through.
When she didn't get a response by the next day, Ramo contacted the police in Madrid. On Sunday, February 4th, friends called the fire department to do a wellness check, but Ana wasn't there.
They didn't find her. Looks like she left the apartment, locking it from the outside.
And so, again, she was last seen alive on February 2nd. And her friends reported her missing on February 4th.
And that's the last we know.
Ramo says, according to police, something strange was captured on surveillance video 30 minutes before Ana was last seen.
A man with a helmet sprayed the surveillance cameras on the directory outside of her apartment building, and waited for two people to leave the building, and took the opportunity to go inside and spray the surveillance camera inside by the elevator.
Ramo says Madrid police are investigating and the family is working with the FBI, but so far, no leads.
I honestly feel like I'm still living in a dream, to be honest with you.
She says the last 2 weeks have been devastating. Ramo is sending this message to her friend or to anyone who may know where she is.
We just miss her, and that we love her, and that we just want her back safe.
In Fort Lauderdale, Kim Nguyen, NBC6 News.
All right. So again, those clips were all from February. We are now going to fast forward 3 months to May 6th, 2024. And this is when the husband, estranged husband of Ana, was arrested on kidnapping charges. And again, he was arrested at Miami International Airport.
Developing now, the estranged husband of a South Florida woman who disappeared in Spain earlier this year has been arrested.
He was taken into custody in Broward County. Local 10's Laren Livingston joins us live outside of that jail in Fort Lauderdale.
He tells us what charges the man is now facing. Laren.
Now, up to this point, David Knezovich had not been officially named a person of interest or a suspect in this case, and no arrests had been made. But that changed this morning when Local 10 learned that Knezovich was in custody here in Broward County. Now, this is a mugshot that we got, and according to jail records, David Knezovich was on a U.S. Marshal's Office hold for kidnapping, pending a federal hearing where a court will review his assets that he would potentially use to post his bail. In previous reports, family members and friends of his missing estranged wife, Anna, have said he left for Serbia back in January. Now, Anna.
And just to pause there for a moment, because they had mentioned his bail. So this is from May 10th. No bond for husband accused of kidnapping wife who vanished in Spain. David Gnezovic attended a pre-trial detention hearing to seek his release, but the judge ultimately decided he's a potential flight risk. And I would definitely agree with the judge that he is. So again, a South Florida man accused of kidnapping his estranged wife who vanished in Spain months ago was denied bond by a federal judge in Miami Friday. David Knezovic attended a pre-trial detention hearing to seek his release, but the judge ultimately decided he's a potential flight risk. He was arrested Saturday after arriving at Miami International Airport on a flight from Serbia and was charged with kidnapping and the disappearance of his wife, Ana Maria Knezovic. The Colombian native has been missing since February 2nd, when she was last seen in Madrid. She had lived in Fort Lauderdale, but had moved to Madrid in December after friends said she was separating from her husband. During Friday's hearings, things were contentious at times between David's defense attorney and the FBI agent on the case during cross-examination. So he will be staying in jail.
Has not been seen or heard from since February, and that's when she went missing in Madrid, Spain. She traveled to the country in December after she and David's 13-year marriage splintered. Loved ones say Anna was supposed to meet a friend to take the train to Barcelona, but never showed up at the station, prompting a now international missing persons case. Now, adding to the mystery of all of this, around the time of Anna's disappearance, someone spray painted reportedly the lenses of a couple of the security cameras outside of her apartment where she was staying in and disabled the cameras at the building's entrance. David, in the meantime, her estranged husband, hired a lawyer who told Local 10 his client had been in contact with Spanish authorities from Serbia, where he was, but he did not feel the need to go to Spain following her disappearance. So we're still working to get some information about Knezovich's return to the U.S. and his arrest. We've reached out to the U.S. Marshal's Office. We've also contacted that attorney with whom Local 10 has spoken with previously in different interviews. And we will definitely let you know what we learn about this developing situation as soon as that information becomes available. But that's the latest here from Broward County. I'm Laren Livingston, Local 10 News.
Okay, Laren, thank you.
So I'm curious if he thought maybe he had gotten away with it, and that's why he came back to the US from Serbia, because it had been 3 months. It's just, I find that curious. But I also am glad he came back from Serbia because they were able to arrest him. So this next clip, we're going to watch a little bit, about a minute of, and then we're going to get into the criminal complaint, which is very, very interesting. So, some wonder, why did it take so long? This is going to show why it took so long and what was actually happening behind the scenes, because there was a lot happening in this investigation that wasn't, the public wasn't privy to.
New evidence painting a disturbing picture about what might have happened to a South Florida woman who disappeared in Spain.
At the center of the investigation is her estranged husband. There he is, who was arrested on Saturday at Miami International Airport. NBC6's Lorena Inclán joins us live from MIA.
Yeah, and Lorena, several countries came together to help make this arrest.
That's right. It truly was an international effort between the U.S., Spanish, also Serbian, and even Colombian authorities. But while the estranged husband has been arrested in this case, the whereabouts of Ana Maria remain a mystery. 36-year-old David Nesevich is facing a federal kidnapping charge in connection with the disappearance of his estranged wife, Ana Maria. In this detailed criminal complaint, the FBI explains how Ana Maria was last seen alive the afternoon of February 2nd, entering her building in Madrid, Spain. Later.
Okay, so we are going to move to the criminal complaint. It's not very long. And again, I did go through it initially, and I did highlight it just so that it's a little bit easier to see. And I was going to highlight the important stuff, but it turns out pretty much everything in this document is important. So again, this was filed on May 3rd, so just over a week ago in U.S. District Court, Southern District of Florida. And so they have the cover sheet. So here, affidavit in support of criminal complaint. I, Andre Gillis, being first duly sworn, do hereby depose and state the following. 1, I am a special agent for the United States Department of State Diplomatic Security Service, currently assigned as a task force officer with the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the Miami Division. I have been employed as a special agent since January 2017, where I have received training in criminal investigations at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center and the Diplomatic Security Training Center. In this capacity, I investigate violations of federal criminal law, specializing in criminal matters pertaining to the U.S. extraterritorial jurisdiction. By virtue of my employment, I perform and have performed a variety of investigative tasks and have received training in the conduct of criminal investigations. And then it goes on, just, the affidavit, it's, he's investigated, et cetera, et cetera. Factual background. So this is where we get into what was happening since she left for Madrid. Yeah, Pookie, there was actually, I saw an article that allegedly someone said that biological remains had been found, but that was not true. So I'm not sure. I didn't read the article, so I'm not sure exactly where that came from, but it came from somewhere and it wasn't true. So on or about December 26th, 2023, a 40-year-old female, the victim, and United States citizen, traveled from Miami International Airport in the Southern District of Florida in the United States to Madrid, Spain. Thereafter, on or about February 2nd, 2024, the victim's friends and family, who had previously communicated with her while she was in Spain, lost contact. For example, prior to her disappearance, the victim and some friends had planned a trip that the victim subsequently failed to show up for. And again, that was the trip she was going to go to Barcelona with a friend. Additionally, the last non-automatic activities on the victim's Bank of America account were for a flower purchase on or about February 2nd, 2024, the last day she was seen alive, as well as a charge from a restaurant in Madrid on or about February 10th, 2024, for failing to show up to a dinner reservation. At the time of her disappearance, the victim was married to Knežević, a Yugoslavian-born naturalized citizen of the United States. The victim and Knežević were separated and planned to divorce. The separation was contentious because I'm just going to call him David, because David did not want to split the marital assets evenly with the victim. The victim was very fearful of David and believed that he was surreptitiously monitoring her whereabouts. That's interesting as well. An investigation into the victim's disappearance by Spanish authorities revealed that on or about February 2nd, 2024, security cameras at the victim's apartment building in Madrid, Spain, captured her entering the building around 2:20 p.m. This is the last time the victim is ever seen alive. So that's interesting because in one of those earlier clips, it had been mentioned that she had gotten back around 10. But according to this affidavit, the last time she was seen entering the building was 2:20 p.m. That same day, at approximately 9:27 p.m., the building's surveillance camera captured a male wearing a helmet enter the building at the same time some individuals were exiting. Once inside the building, the male is captured descending the stairs while holding a can of spray paint, which he then uses to disable a surveillance camera by painting the lens. So again, it doesn't state anything about the camera where, you get buzzed in, but it does mention, the male who, in a helmet, spraying the surveillance camera. The lens was not completely obscured, and the male is then seen fastening a piece of duct tape to the lock of the building entrance to prevent the lock from engaging to allow subsequent entry. Notably, the male, who looks directly at the camera, has physical characteristics that resembled those of David. At approximately 10:30 p.m., the male is captured leaving the elevator with what appears to be a suitcase. So, about an hour this took place. On or about February 4th, so now this is 2 days later, remember, her friends are who called Spanish authorities to report her or to do a wellness check. They had said, we haven't heard from her. We want, can you just check it out? So on or about February 4th, 2024, Spanish firefighters entered the victim's apartment for a welfare check and discovered that she was not in her apartment. Subsequently, Spanish law enforcement searched the victim's apartment pursuant to a judge's order and discovered that the victim's cell phone, laptop computer, and respective chargers were missing. Which is interesting, again, because in one of those earlier clips, I believe it was News Nation, had said that when Spanish authorities investigated, there wasn't anything amiss, which clearly was not true because all of her electronics were missing. Based on surveillance footage, Spanish law enforcement was able to identify the brand of spray paint used to disable the security camera. Law enforcement then determined that a retailer in Madrid had a recorded sale of that particular brand of spray paint on or about February 2nd, 2024. Surveillance footage from the retailer depicted an individual who appeared to be David purchasing the spray paint along with 2 rolls of duct tape on or about February 2nd, 2024, around noon. So David didn't think, he wasn't, let's see, what's the word I want to use? I'm glad he didn't think of everything because he was caught on surveillance at the store buying said spray paint and duct tape. So he tried to hide his face or identity while going into the building, but I guess he didn't think that, his identity wasn't obscured earlier in the day. Right, unsupervised. He isn't as smart as he thinks he is. Oh, it gets better. I mean, not, but he really isn't very smart. And I think that's good because I'm hoping that Anna's family will be able to find her. Additionally, a Colombian woman who met David on a dating application in October 2023, individual 1, advised law enforcement that on or about February 3rd, 2024, the day after the victim is last seen alive, David contacted her via WhatsApp and asked her for help in translating a message into, quote, perfect Colombian for a friend in Serbia who is writing a script about a Colombian character. David explains that he wants the writing to sound authentic. I wonder if they found their way to the paint store from his purchase records. Sinner, they said, let me just go back. So it said that based on the surveillance, law enforcement was able to identify the brand of spray paint. Oh, so then it says, so I'm thinking, so not necessarily his bill of sale, but the store had the bill of sale, and then I'm guessing they went to, surveillance timestamp. Remy, right? And I think that's why it's in quotes, because those in Colombia speak Spanish. Specifically, David and individual 1 engage in the following dialogue, which individual 1 provided to law enforcement. David, hey babe, I need your help. Individual 1, hello babe, of course, tell me. David, I have a friend in Serbia who is a writer. She has a small character who is Colombian. She has few sentences that have to be translated from Serbian English to Colombian Spanish, like how Colombian girl would speak. Rola, haha. Are you able to translate what I give you in English into perfect Colombian? Individual 1, oh babe, well I don't speak English. I would have to rely on the translator, and I would create rolas sentences based on context. David, yes, you would see it translated and then fix it. Quote, I met someone wonderful. He has a summer house about 2 hours from Madrid. We are going there now, and I will spend a few days there. There is barely any signal, though. I'll call you when I come back. Kisses, end quote. Well, where did we see that before? We saw that in a text message that Anna allegedly sent to one of her friends, which her friend knew that something was wrong, that she would not have written something like that, let alone spoke like that. So, yeah, so unsupervised maniacs, there was, and actually, let me go back. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to, I don't think I have the right one. I think it's the other one. So there were text messages. Oops. Oh, here they are. Okay, so let me go over here real quick. Oops, I meant to pause it, Chris. Slow down, bud. So these are text messages that Anna allegedly sent to a friend. And The only thing that's different is there's no kisses, exclamation point. But it does say, I met someone wonderful. He has a summer house about 2 hours from Madrid. We are going there now, and I will spend a few days there. Signal a spotty. I'll call you when I get back. Yep, no worries, unsupervised. Almost. Actually, let me go back. Yeah, it was a little bit different. So yeah, so in the text it said signal a spotty. In the what he wanted it to be translated to was there is barely any signal though. So I'm guessing based on the translation, the Spanish that he was given, it wasn't necessarily accurate. Good question, Sinner. How would she know that the signal was spotty before she even got there? Good question. And then the footnotes just say WhatsApp is an encrypted messaging application that is typically utilized by its user through a mobile device. Notably, so footnote 2, the victim was born in Colombia and later became a U.S. citizen in 2009. So that footnote was, oh, here. David explains that he wants the writing to sound authentic because she was born in Colombia. And then italicized text originally appeared in Spanish and has been translated for this affidavit. Okay, so individual 1 was speaking in Spanish in the text. So we continue with, okay, so he said about what he wanted her to translate. David says, what do you think? Individual 1, do I fix this paragraph? David, yes. Individual 1, quote, I met someone wonderful. He has a summer house about 2 hours from Madrid. We are going there now, and I will spend a few days there. There is barely any signal, though. I'll call you when I come back. Kisses. David, I can't verify that. Ha ha. Do you think it comes across normally? Individual 1, yes, that's how a Rolo would speak. Is that all? David, wait, no, she is a girl. Rola. Individual 1, haha, yes. David, so did you write it as a boy or as a girl? Individual 1, well, the paragraph is general. It's not written in the first person. David, so now David is going to Spanish. One more. Yesterday, after therapy, I needed a walk and he approached me on the street. Amazing connection, like I never had before. Well, if we go back to the text message that it was allegedly sent by Anna, it states, yesterday after therapy, I needed a walk and he approached me on the street. Amazing connection, like I never had before. So then David also says it in, I would assume, English. Same thing in English. Individual 1, that's incomplete because who approached her on the street? If I do it literally like you are sending it to me, it would be like this. Yesterday I needed a walk after leaving therapy and XXXX approached me on street. There was an incredible connection that we hadn't had before. David, a man approached a woman from the previous paragraph, approached her on the street. Like if you walk down the street and I see you and come to you and start hitting on you, Linda. Blink message. Hey, Heather, how are you? This is a case that I had talked about back in February. Anna Knezovic, who is from Florida. She had gone to Madrid, Spain, amidst a contentious divorce with her husband, David. And on February 2nd of 2024, she was never seen again or heard from. And so just recently, about 10 days ago-ish. Oh, yeah, because this was May 2nd was when the criminal complaint. This is from May 2nd. So just like about a week and a half ago, her estranged husband was arrested on kidnapping charges. So let's see. So I did read, okay, so blank message. Individual 1 says, yesterday I went for a walk after leaving therapy and a man approached me to flirt and we had an incredible connection. Thanks. Oh, David. Thanks, gorgeous. Individual 1, don't mention it, handsome. I hope it helps. David, it helps, my friend. Smiley face. And again, this was a woman that he had met on WhatsApp. Let me just go back up. So again, yes, a Colombian woman who he met back in October. So he met her on a dating app back in October, and then he had contacted her via WhatsApp to have her translate what we now know are text messages that were, I would say, sent by David on Anna's cell phone. Thereafter, David shared a photo with individual 1 of a plane ticket he purchased on February 16th, 2024 for a flight from Serbia to Bogota, scheduled to arrive on February 19th, 2024. However, David never boarded the flight. David and individual 1 continued to communicate via WhatsApp until on or about February 26th, 2024. At some point, individual 1's communications with David, individual 1, okay, let me reread that. At some point during individual 1's communications with David, individual 1 told her mother about having met a Serbian man online. Wanting to know more about the individual 1's mother Googled Knezovic and learned that his wife had been reported missing in Madrid. Kudos to mom for wanting to know more about this Serbian man. Individual 1 then discovered a news article that contained a message purportedly from David's wife that matched the exact wording of the text she and David had put together on or about February 3rd, 2024. David. I mean, I'm glad he's so arrogant. I'm going to say arrogant. Like he just thought he was going to be able to, you know, get away with murder, allegedly. He hasn't been charged with murder yet, only kidnapping. A review of records from Customs and Border Protection revealed that on or about January 27th, 2024, David traveled by airplane from Miami International Airport in the Southern District of Florida to Istanbul, Turkey. So that was just before Anna went missing, because again, she was last seen or heard from on February 2nd. Thereafter, David traveled out of Serbia by vehicle on or about January 30th, 2024, and returned to Belgrade, Serbia by vehicle on or about February 5th, 2024. Per Google Maps, by car, it takes approximately 26 hours to travel from Belgrade, Serbia to Madrid, Spain, at a distance of 2,592 kilometers. Law enforcement's investigation revealed that David rented a Peugeot, I know I'm butchering that name, 308 in Serbia from approximately on or about January 29th, 2024 through approximately on or about March 15th, 2024. So not only did he rent a car on or about January 29th, but he also traveled out of Serbia on or about January 30th. So like the day after. The owner of the rental car agency informed law enforcement that when David returned the vehicle, the rental agency discovered that the windows had been tinted, the license plate frames had changed, and 2 stickers had been removed from the vehicle. The vehicle had traveled approximately 7,677 kilometers while rented by David. So let me just do, because I can't do it completely in my head. So it would be 5,184 kilometers to Madrid and back. So there's an extra 2,000-ish kilometers that he drove with the rental. Law enforcement's investigation revealed that around the relevant time, an individual filed a complaint that both his license plates were stolen off his vehicle in Spain. Spanish authorities ran a search in their plate reader database for the stolen plate and learned that the stolen plate was present on Calle Francisco Savela, the street where the victim's apartment was located. So the license plates changed, and it just happened that 2 license plates were stolen off a vehicle on the same street where Anna had her apartment. Hey, Granny, how are you? Additionally, the stolen plate also passed through 2 toll booths in the middle of the night on February 2nd, 2024 into February 3rd, 2024. Video from the toll booths revealed that the plates were attached to a Peugeot 308 with tinted windows, which is the type of vehicle David rented in Serbia. Because of the tint, the driver is not visible. One of the toll booths is in Aljavier, Spain, which is just outside of Madrid. There was some, 4,771 miles. That's a lot of driving. All right, so next, law enforcement has also learned that on or about March 4th, 2024, a woman purporting to be the victim, known as the caller, contacted an insurance carrier for the purpose of canceling 3 insurance policies held by the victim for her and David's business. The insurance policies related to vehicles that were used by the business. During the call, children could be heard in the background speaking to the caller. The victim does not have any children. Moreover, law enforcement learned pursuant to a subpoena return that the phone number utilized by the caller was owned by David's company, and David is listed as the contact for the phone number. Right, if you had a business, it was for work, right. Moreover, on or about April 24th, 2024, so this is like, I mean, they're still investigating, like they're still getting information nearly up until his arrest. So again, April 24th, 2024, an employee of David, employee 1, advised law enforcement that David instructed employee 1 to impersonate the victim in order to open a new bank account and provide employee 1 with the victim's social security number to use as proof that she was the victim. Thereafter, on or about April 25th, 2024, employee 1 advised David during a telephone call that she was uncomfortable impersonating the victim because the victim was missing. In response, David told employee 1 that this was, quote, not serious, and told employee 1 it needed to be done in order for the employees to be paid. David further stated, quote, I cannot call with my voice because I sound like a guy. And that is conclusion. Based on the foregoing, your affiant respectfully submits that there is probable cause to believe that David committed the offense of kidnapping in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1201A1. And there we go. So David just, I mean, he just had a lot going on, it seems like. And I'm curious where all of this was done, because again, they arrested him arriving in Miami from Serbia. So I'm assuming all of this was happening. Well, he was in Serbia, possibly, he was talking to his employees in a different, like maybe in the States, I'm not sure. Oh, I agree. Unsupervised. I think they're going to find a lot more. And I mean, they could have found the one thing, actually, let me just stop sharing for a minute, because there was an article that I had, and then I was like, but they did have a little tidbit of information in this article that was not in the affidavit. And that is that they had found blood in Anna's apartment. I just want to see if I can find. Shoot, this is where I wish I had kept it. But the FBI had said they did not bring it up in court because they were waiting for identification to be made. The DNA identification. That's one thing that, reading through that, they didn't mention. Let me just see. I'm going to try one more. All right, let's see. Yeah, I can't find it, but it wasn't an article. I will try to find it and post it in the description, but the FBI did mention that blood had been found in Anna's apartment, and they had not submitted it to the court because they were awaiting positive identification. Yeah, he did leave a nice trail, and I hope that he also left a trail to where Anna's family can find her. And so that's the last clip I have, is a statement that Anna's family made after the arrest of David. Yes, Sinner, I think he did it himself. I think he's too arrogant to have somebody else do it. Like, I just think I mean, obviously I don't know him, but just based on what we heard from the affidavit, I think he's too arrogant. He would want to do it himself.
If she's out there somewhere, I just want to tell her that we all love her, we miss her, we support her.
Off the top at 6 tonight, a heartbroken family talking about their loved one who vanished in Spain months ago. That woman's estranged husband has been arrested.
The family is now hoping his arrest will lead to critical clues and answers about her disappearance. Let's get right to Local 10 crime specialist Bridget Matter live in Fort Lauderdale with our top story. Bridget.
So in the last hour, we spoke to neighbors and we learned that the FBI was here this morning going in and out of the house. This is just days after they arrested her estranged husband. The FBI is now honed in on him, linking her to her disappearance. Today, the family says that they feel betrayed. The family of Anna Knezovich are troubled over new details in her February disappearance.
It's been very devastating time to us. We're still in shock.
Anna disappeared in Spain back in February. Days ago, federal authorities arrested her estranged husband, David Knezovich, on a kidnapping charge. The FBI says evidence links David to her apartment the night of her disappearance. A criminal complaint says a man who resembles David spray painted cameras at Anna's apartment building and left an hour later with a suitcase. David was captured on surveillance video buying duct tape and the same brand of paint. Anna's brother, Felipe Hanoi, became emotional Wednesday, calling his sister a light.
I'm the person who I am in this country because of her. I came here. She fed me. She gave me a roof. She gave me a job. She guided me, and I'm eternally grateful for her, and that's why I fight for her.
The family had little to say about the investigation, only that it's pending and they want to know what happened.
It's terrible. We feel great betrayal. We're just shocked. We traumatized. I don't wish this upon my worst enemy.
David never traveled to Spain to help search for his wife and has remained fairly quiet throughout the investigation. He's currently in federal custody. We know that multiple agencies are working this, including the FBI and Spanish authorities. David is expected in court this Friday for a hearing. We're live in Fort Lauderdale. Bridget Matter, Local 10 News.
Okay, so I did find the article that I had mentioned about the blood, and I'm going to just read a little bit more of this because it actually had a little bit more information than the criminal complaint did. So it kind of goes through the criminal complaint, and then it talks about what the prosecutor had said in court. So this is where the prosecutor said David has a strong incentive to flee as he is looking at a potential life sentence if convicted of kidnapping and death if it can be shown his wife has been killed. But Weintraub said the government's case is, quote, built on assumptions, which I believe Weintraub is the defense attorney. Let me just double check though before I misspeak. Yes, defense attorney Jane Weintraub. Oh. There is Anna's brother walking with attorney Courtney Caprio. All right, so the defense attorney said the government's case is built on assumptions. She denied that the couple split was acrimonious and questioned FBI agent Alexandria Mantilla extensively about the investigation, trying to poke holes in the government's theory, admitting she sometimes crossed into, quote, snarkiness. For example, Mantilla said the only items missing from Anna's apartment were her laptop and cell phone. Weintraub said perhaps she took a change of clothing, which wouldn't be obvious, and ran off with a man. When Mantilla said unidentified blood was found in Anna's apartment and is being tested, Weintraub asked why that would take 3 months. When Mantilla said Spanish police had interviewed all the men Anna had dated since arriving in Spain, Weintraub asked how they would know there wasn't someone else. She said Anna had a history of mental illness and had talked of unaliving herself. Weintraub posited that Anna perhaps ran off, quote, on a mental health holiday, end quote, and would soon return, quote, with whomever she's with. A suggestion that caused Anna's relatives in the gallery to noticeably stir. So here, I know defense attorneys have a job to do, but to place blame on a missing woman seems a little bit mean. Weintraub also argued there is no evidence that Anna's disappearance was forced, an essential component of a kidnapping charge. And there never will be, she said. She then questioned whether the U.S. government even has jurisdiction. Monk argued that under revisions made to the federal kidnapping law in 2006, the U.S. can charge someone if the offender engaged in, quote, interstate or foreign commerce to commit the crime. Weintraub called that a stretch. Torres agreed that Weintraub will be able to mount a substantial defense, but the prosecution does have sufficient evidence to charge her client, and he is a flight risk. He invited Weintraub to appeal his decision. She did not respond. All right, so seems like he's got quite the defense attorney, which you would want someone fighting every way they could. And again, he was denied bond because the judge felt he was a potential flight risk due to his ties to his native Serbia, which I would agree with. Let's see. Yeah, Cabre seems like the guy that thinks the less people that are involved, the less chance of being caught. And maybe that they won. I mean, think about it. If it wasn't for that nosy mom who did a Google search, and granted the individual one also did a Google search, but if not for the mom who did the Google search, that individual one who was writing those messages may have just believed him and didn't say anything because they didn't know. So that is all I have. So again, I believe they said he's due back. Now I don't remember when he was due back. They said it in one of the articles at the end of May. I thought they said like May 25th or something. I don't remember. But I will continue to follow this, and thank you to those who emailed me or let me know. And I think it was Remy who reminded me yesterday. So thank you for that, because I don't always see the updates because there's so many stories going on. And I did post a short about a mom who was shot by a neighbor who, in my opinion, was racist. And he is a convicted felon who should not have had any weapons, yet he had an arsenal hidden inside a wall. And so the mom is still in critical but stable condition. She's on a ventilator. And so her older son has been a spokesperson for not only her, but his family, along with his aunt. Oh, you're welcome, unsupervised. Yeah, I had just seen it by accident back in February, and I was like, oh, what is this? And so, I have an earlier live if you wanted to take a look. I'll actually share it again on my community page. That has a lot more than information. I just kind of picked out a little bit to kind of give a summary of what happened. I am going to be working on another short about a 10-year-old little boy who sadly took his own life due to what his parents are calling bullying at school. And based on what I've seen, I don't disagree with them. So that's a short that I'm going to be working on. But definitely make sure notifications are on. Sinner said he was unsubbed from me today. So I need to go through and make sure that, the people that I usually watch that I'm still subbed to, because clearly YouTube isn't, oh, thank you, Sinner. YouTube isn't, doing what it's supposed to do here. So I most likely will be live tomorrow. I don't know what story I'll be talking about, but I have seen some more survivor stories in regards to the tornadoes that have been hitting the Midwest. And there was even a tornado in Pennsylvania, and someone caught its formation on video, which is, I mean, the point where the tornado actually touched down and you start seeing all this debris, it it made my heart fall, because I was like, oh my God, like that's somebody's house or someone's, business. So definitely a lot going on, but I will be live tomorrow, so make sure notifications are on. If you haven't hit the like, please do so on your way out. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.